Chalk Talk with Tony. I'm your host, Tmzoids, also known as Tony. And today we have xAngelonicx, also known as Angel. How are you doing, Angel?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing pretty good. I'm excited. It's Friday. I got a 3-day weekend.
Nice.
I'm pumped. I know, no working out, which I should work out anyway. It's besides the point. Oh, man. Any plans for the weekend before we get into this long, dreadful interview here?
Work, streaming, and sleeping.
I like sleeping and streaming. Working kind of sucks, but hey, making the big bucks though.
Absolutely.
See, there you go. Anyway, the first question, as always, we always want to know how you got this username. It sounds like you kind of just mashed it together when you're. Looks like a 12-year-old kind of name. Like I was really young, not to judge, because my name's Tmzoids, so mine was when I was 12. So
Gotcha. This username is actually maybe 2 or 3 years old. I got it because a lot of people know that I play a lot of support characters, so they're like, "Oh, you're like an angel. You're constantly healing us." Also, a lot of people said in general I'm really a kind person, so I'm also an angel in that aspect. And I was like, I have no idea how to figure out what I should do for a username. So I was looking up like usernames with angel in it, and then there was just this random video that says like Angel and Nick, and so for some odd reason I put it together, and I guess like the X's kind of like unified it all, so that's how I got my username.
Oh man, now I'm embarrassed. You're like, man, it was when I was 12. I made this 2 years ago.
I was like not even 12.
Oh man. So, talking about sports, I know this is going off topic, but what did you support in? Like, are you just talking about League of Legends, or are you talking other games besides League?
I did main support for about a year in League of Legends, and then I do kind of like support classes in like MMORPGs. Mainly, what was that? Black Desert Online, I was kind of a support. Arcade, I was kind of a support. And then, I guess, Battlefield, I was I guess, healing class. I guess you could call it support.
A medic? You're like, here
Yeah.
you go. I did not know they had a healing class. This is how far I'm behind my FPS.
You
So I
just
did not.
resume.
They just keep shocking them until they
Pretty much.
start moving again. Do you actually have a gun too, or you just kind of run around and?
Yeah, you have a gun. So you have your assault rifle, then your secondary, which is normally a pistol, and then you'll have for your third or your fourth, you can switch between the two. You can have a med pack, or you can have defibs. So.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say that's a pretty dangerous job you got going.
Just run around with no gun.
Just running around with the paddles, just shocking. I mean, I guess you could technically kill somebody that way if enemies run in and just shock them. Anyway, getting way off topic there. So, some friendly banter. Your friend Forrest K was on here, also known as Forrest Int now on Twitch. He shared an interesting fact, and I think you can one-up him. We're going to just do a friendly little competition here when he watches this. Keep seeing if he's actually watching. So, his interesting fact was he actually went to Korea, and he actually got to try dog, which is, I don't know. I personally couldn't eat a dog, but maybe to its own. Can you one-up that fact?
Can I one-up that? Just a random little fact. I guess we could go back to the username question, because if you think that this username could be made by a 12-year-old, my username before was Unigirl1715. Super obsessed with Final Fantasy X. So it was really embarrassing. I think that's why I needed a username change, because I was like, oh man, like everybody knows I'm a girl, and like this is so childish.
But Angel's a girl name too, so kind of.
Yeah. It's not as bad as it used to be.
Fair enough. I give you that one. I'll give you that one. So you're a big Final Fantasy fan.
Huge Final Fantasy fan until we got to 13, and I was like, I'm done. Apparently people are telling me I need to try 15, so I'll think about it.
You'll think about it. Are you going to stream it, or are you just going to play it off the side and kind of...
think I'll probably stream it, maybe little bits of it. I know the game's really long, so I feel like streaming it for a long time would kind of bother me, maybe my viewers, because I can't play like one game back to back.
Makes sense. That's interesting. We'll go back to that in a second. But
Yeah.
favorite Final Fantasy character?
Man.
You're gonna get judged by all your viewers, by the way.
I know, I gotta be careful with this one. Oh, I mean, you've got to go with the safe pick, which is Vivi from Final Fantasy IX.
Oh man, he's my favorite. Or she's
Right?
my favorite.
I think, besides that, my favorite Final Fantasy character, which I know I'll get so judged because the game was so bad apparently, was from Final Fantasy XII. I think her name was Fran, like the Viera. She had a little bow, wearing all black, super sexy. Oh, I love everything about her.
Oh man. I personally have not played 12, so actually I personally played any of them, but don't tell anybody.
It's cool. It's good.
So Fran, so guys, if you know anything about Final Fantasy, good pick, bad pick, who's your favorite? As always, we would love to hear. But continuing on, we're going to go backtrack a little bit. Before Final Fantasy, when you were a wee little girl here, when did you start getting into gaming? What was your first console? Or game, I should say, in general.
So, when I first started getting into gaming, it was actually my older brother that got me into video games, because my mom was never around. We were kind of a poor family, so she'd always work 2 jobs. And so that was our pastime. And around the time that, the first PlayStation ever came out, we didn't have money for that, so my mom ended up getting us a Nintendo 64. And I remember playing Yoshi's Story and Banjo-Kazooie, and oh god, there were just so many there, Snowboard Kids 2, and I talk about it all the time on my stream. In the future, I'm getting a Nintendo 64, and we are streaming some classic games. I think it would be so much fun just to relive my childhood.
So you talk about your brother. So your brother got you into gaming. Was he a big gamer too?
Absolutely.
And did he, when you were playing 2-player games, did he actually let you play, or were you like, oh, you're Yoshi, you're the one I'm riding on right now. Just keep pressing the A button.
Oh man, no, he'd be like, don't save over my save file, so I could never save any of my games. And he's just like, if you save over it, it's like, you're gonna owe me so much. And I think the only time we'd ever play video games together was if we were playing WWE Raw or SmackDown, whatever those games came out, and just because you could have a 2v2. Other than that, there wasn't too many games that we were like, oh yeah, let's play. He's just like, here's this new game, and you should really try it out. But remember, don't save over my save file. I played so many games from the beginning, so many different times.
Oh, that's so rough. Now, look at it, it's built in. You can save 3 different times. And,
right? So much easier.
So the first console then you personally owned was a Nintendo 64?
Mm-hmm.
And what would your favorite game be from Nintendo 64?
I was really bad at it. But for some odd reason, I loved Glover.
Okay.
I was really bad at having the glove on top of the balls and moving it around, but for some odd reason that was one of my favorite games.
It's probably because it's challenging the most.
Maybe. For little 7-8-year-old me trying to figure out how to do any of this. I still don't think I'm good at this game today.
Well, other than Glover, you played the classic games, Banjo-Kazooie. Actually, the second person that's actually said that in the interviews here.
Nice.
I didn't know about the game until she said it, and I was like, who? What? And there was
what is Banjo-Kazooie?
And it's actually a bird and a bear, right?
Yeah.
It's like an RPG, just for people that don't know. Other than that, moving forward then, since you had the N64, the biggest question, or another thing that will probably split people here, are you more of a Mario fan or a Sonic fan?
Man. I gotta say, I'm more of a Sonic fan. because I would watch it all the time on TV. So
Really?
yeah, when that was still a thing, watch it on TV.
Oh man, I'm surprised. So it has nothing to do with the games at all. It has strictly.
I mean, like, I played, like, some of the Sonic games here and there, and, like, I know my stepdad, when my mom and my stepdad married, he had one in, like, our garage, and it was hooked up to a TV, so I played, like, Sonic on the Sega. But other than that, like, yeah, it was mainly the TV show that got me, like, super into Sonic, and then, like, a few of, like, the newer gen games.
Do you think that you're going to play the new Sonic? I know they had a new Sonic coming out, or thinking about a new Sonic coming out.
If they have a new Sonic coming out, totally. Absolutely.
You said that you're going to stream from, or try and stream and get an N64. So does that mean you're going to, in the future, get like a capture card? Do you see yourself playing other consoles besides N64, or is it kind of like?
I mean, I know my roommate, her boyfriend is moving in with us, so I'm going to be getting a whole new place again in the next couple of months. But he has a Nintendo Switch, and he said, I think it's like if you buy the CD or something, or however that works for getting games, he's like, you can play on my Nintendo Switch. And I'm like, yes, Breath of the Wild. I'm so excited. So we're going to do a Nintendo Switch. My roommate spontaneously bought a PlayStation 4, so we're going to be doing PlayStation 4 streams. I just got to grab the webcam or the camera for the PlayStation 4 that I left at my boyfriend's house, so we'll figure that out. But yeah, so PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, getting a capture card for Nintendo 64. And then I think if I can, we might move over to Sega. And
oh, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot.
Pulling them all out there, man. You're like this. I'm like, dang.
You're like, here. I'm just thinking Nintendo 64. No, I've got so much planned for the future.
Well, that's always exciting. We'll get to Twitch in a second. Not to jump the gun there. I know streaming is the main thing there, of course.
No problem.
But then continuing on, or before we get off the N64, I know not to dwell on this too much, but did you play any of the Zelda games before N64 or on N64?
Also, I'm trying to think of which Zelda it was.
Was it the Breath?
Link to the Past. I played Link to the Past. I played Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker. And then we're going to be playing Breath of the Wild. I didn't play between Wind Waker. I think there was another one in there, Skyward Sword or something. I didn't play Skyward Sword, so yeah.
It looked like a good game to you. So you're a big Zelda fan then?
Yeah.
You would say?
Without a doubt.
You seem way excited. You're like, yes, Nintendo Switch! So continuing on from the N64, it sounded like you didn't have the most amount of money. You worked a lot, and you know you had the consoles you had. So did you have any other consoles besides N64? Did you go to PlayStation? Did you have an Xbox?
We had the first PlayStation, which, if there's something that'll like bring you back, is when that startup screen with like the orange diamond has that huge like bass playing. You're like, oh, this is the PlayStation, so good. So we had that. And then we didn't get a PlayStation 2 until way later, like when PlayStation 3 started coming out, or like they were thinking about like teaser trailers for PlayStation 3s. So we were a little behind on the game, but yeah, we went straight into PlayStation, never touched Xbox. So, I mean, I went to a friend's house and played Halo like a few times, but I had no idea what I was doing ever. Another friend had a GameCube, so I went over there and played with them. So around that time when PlayStation 3 was teased, we had a PlayStation 2, and then shortly after our PlayStation 2, we had a GameCube.
Okay. Little reversal there, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's really weird. So yeah, and then after that, we got a Wii U after my mom married, and then that's when we got a PlayStation 3. So definitely a lot of different consoles that I've tried.
All right, now time to get more rage and more diverse. Just make them all mad here. Now, you already kind of hinted to it. You didn't have an Xbox, so here's the simple question. Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Oh man, I know what you're talking about with the PlayStation 1, and I have to ask, your PlayStation 1 probably lasted you probably the longest out of all your consoles,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like, you literally could probably throw it against the wall. I'm not even kidding. You could probably throw that thing against the wall, put a disc in it, and it would still work.
Yeah, because they're indestructible. They're like the Nokia phone.
That is so true. Oh, man. I love my PlayStation. I'm a PlayStation fan, too, so I don't blame you. I mean, I've had an Xbox. Actually, I have an Xbox 360 now, but I just, something about PlayStation. They always, and especially when the PlayStation, what are we on, 4 now? Beat out Xbox, it just kind of gave you a little joy. You're like, we're finally coming back.
Take that, Xbox.
So with the PlayStation, what would you say would be like? Is this where you kind of got into RPGs? Or are you still kind of playing just kind of random FPS games? You didn't seem a big fan of Halo, so.
I think when it came to the PS3, what really got me into like specific video games, definitely FPSs, was Modern Warfare 2. I was all about that game. Started playing online. It did pretty decent. I was like, you know, I'm pretty good at this. And then in high school, like, so I wasn't too popular. We had like, you know, the typical nerdy guys who were like, we have LAN parties. Like, you want to come over and like just play some LAN games or like games through LAN? And I was like, I don't know if LAN is like a game or what's going on with this. It completely flew over my head, but I was pretty good friends with them, so I was like, you know what, whatever, sure, that's fine. Oh, it's just having all those computers in one room, and it's super hot. You have all these sweaty guys, and like Mountain Dew cans everywhere. It was the typical LAN party that you could like, as soon as you thought of it, you're like, oh yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about. So I started PC gaming around that time as well, and also got into like World at War, some of the older like COD games and everything. Oh man, definitely could pass on the smell.
Well, before that's great. A typical thing. Well, first things first, you are popular, more popular now. Look at you, got an interview going, you stream.
All right. Thank you again for this.
Oh, of course. You don't have to thank me. Like I said, it wouldn't be anything without you. So, but to continue on with the PlayStation, you didn't really have games that you really followed. So then, what would your favorite game be then? I guess again, since you didn't really follow a genre during that time.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think it was a game called Heavenly Sword. A lot of people thought it was like kind of a God of War ripoff, only it's female. Long red hair, you know.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this big ass sword, like swing it around and stuff. That was actually one of my favorite games, especially since PlayStation figured out how to use like I think they called it aftertouch, where you could move around your controller and it would indicate where it's going. You played a female named Kai who had like a bow and arrow. Or like a shooting, it's like a huge cannon that shoots out arrows or something. So you could like direct those and hit people wherever you could direct them to. And I thought that was awesome. Like that was one of my favorite games of all time.
You seem to be a big fan of the range class. It seems like you're like
yeah.
You're like this chick with a bow and arrow. I'm like, man. So on a total side note, then. Are you a big fan of Legolas from Lords of the Ring? Or have you even seen Lords of the Ring? Oh, so
absolutely.
She's melting her seat, guys.
Orlando Bloom, take me.
Oh, man. That man.
I'm gonna make this like interview awkward real quick.
That man is a lucky man, I'm sure. He's probably got women all around. But
sidetracking again.
Sidetracking again there. So back to the video games there. So you didn't really have a genre until you started playing FPSs. How did you say you're a support, or you got this name Angel because you're a support, but here you are running around with big ass swords, and now you're going into like the COD games and you're just shooting everybody.
Yeah.
Is there Was it family? Was it just you played the game once and you're like, this is it?
um, I think it was. I guess you could base it around family. Like my mom and my stepdad were both in the military, so getting into FPSs was kind of like a normal thing. My stepdad would come home and he's like, "Well, I'm a typical military guy. He's like, I got another FPS. Let's play it." And I'm like, awesome, sounds good. But other than that, like, since I was too young to have a job or anything, I kind of played games that were, there for me and available to me. So whenever they thought like a game was good, they would, say, "Oh, here you go. Like, I have Guitar Hero and I have, this next FPS coming out, and I have Folklore and like Heavenly Sword." And so I guess I couldn't have figured out a genre that I played until I started like having a job and I had my PC, because then I could buy the games that I wanted to play, not just games that just happened to come home one day. But yeah, so it would be family to get me into first person shooters. All of the other things would be my older sister, who would, buy like the off games like Final Fantasy or like Skyrim or something like that.
I was gonna say, when you said family, I was like, oh my god, she's probably got this anger built up, and she's like, die!
Oh god! No, they're just like, here, play this. I'm like, okay, sounds good.
Like, I'll take my frustration out while I'm blowing people's heads off. Here we go, perfect. That's good. Also on a side, well, not really a side note, but you said your stepdad's in service. Thank you. Well, thank you for serving.
Yeah,
your
my
stepdad
stepdad and my mom were, so they're both retired. Thank God.
Well,
don't have to worry about that.
Don't have to worry about them leaving. And yeah, that's always nice. Well, thank you for your families for serving, and if you spread that along there, thank you. But it's surprising because I've known people from the service in the past, and it's always like a toss-up, it seems like. It seems like some people really like FPSs, and then there's a lot of military people who are like, these don't represent, real-life situations, and this is unrealistic. And it really angers them. And it's just surprising that they were like, here you go, got a new FPS, let's go.
It is kind of weird. They're like, you would think, oh, I've been in the military, I've been handling guns and, being over in like Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, like I don't want to see or touch a gun or deal with any of this. But yeah, I guess my family just took it in like a completely different way.
Also, did your mom play at all video games, or she was just kind of like, oh, that's their thing?
I say this almost every time I play Skyrim, because people say, how did you get into Skyrim? So when we got it, my mom, to this day, has clocked over 500 hours in Skyrim. She loves that game.
I don't even have that much hours.
Right?
Holy cow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, so she's definitely a gamer. Wasn't as much when we were younger, because obviously she was working a lot. But yeah, it was insane.
So going forward now into the LAN party, where it's just the dreadful things of body, sweat, and BO there. Did you enjoy it? Like, what was your first reaction to a LAN party? Was it any? I know you sounded like you didn't know what that was, but what was your initial reaction once you were there and playing?
I was super nervous. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and like these are the kids that I just hung out with in school. Like I never hung out with them outside of school. So when they were like, "Yeah, we're all getting together and we're playing games and stuff," when I thought a LAN party, I was thinking computers, but like I was still like that was a gap that I just didn't jump over yet. Like I didn't figure out any of that territory until I went there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we play on computer, and we play like all these games since internet at the time was not the best. Like now we all play behind a screen, and like never really in the same room anymore. Like I don't really hear LAN parties go on anymore."
Yeah, not too much, sadly.
So yeah, so it'd be like no internet with the computer. Like wireless cards weren't like thoroughly a thing yet. So yeah, like everybody's hooked up and everybody's playing these games in like pitch black. So they're just like, "Oh yeah, you just open this file and do this, and then open this like routing position and da 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 da, and they're telling me all these things. They're like, by the way, you need to change your IP address. I'm like, I don't know what any of this is. So I like literally like handed the keyboard to my friend. I was like, do this for me. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. But after a while, like, you know, I got the hang of playing, I can't remember what COD game it was, but yeah, after I got kind of used to it and everything like that, I kind of, you know, found it really fun and started to understand more about computers. And I was going to LAN parties like almost every week, every other week, whenever my parents would let me. So, yeah.